When I was in school, I was the man. Always did well in tests, always got good grades, A's and B's, and I never studied and I never did homework. So, how did I have this success? How did I have this ability to perform, even though I didn't practice all the time, even though I didn't do all the required work? Writing and immediate action. There are many ways to learn. I'm going to focus on two of the ways when it comes to memorization and actually retaining information. Writing helps commit things to memory. When you write, especially in your own words, this is extremely important. Writing down something word for word isn't that good. Now, if it's a quote and you just want to memorize it, you want to have it down somewhere, that's fine. Quotes are amazing. But when you've learned something, if you can put it into your own words, that is the most powerful way to retain the information strictly through writing it. Because it means that you've processed this information and it makes sense in your head in a way that you can like talk about it or write about it rather. You can explain it in a way that makes sense to you, which means you can retain it easier. When you write about things, it helps commit them to memory. This is why I have 5 pocket journals. You see this? CI5? This is my 5th one. We'll talk more about pocket journals and bonuses. Now, school is trash, right? The school system's fucked, and I'm gonna rebuild it. We're not worried about that right now, though. It does a couple of things right. I'd say one of those things is structure, having structure to your day. They tell you when to be there and why, right? The why is mostly bullshit because a lot of the shit we learn in school is stupid. But the what, which is the structuring of your classes and your periods, that has a lot of validity. If we were to put school kids and students and be like kids and students, if we were to put kids in school and be like, all right, go learn. Who would actually do it? Now I would go learn about science and math because that's what I love. But writing, history, the fuck? I wouldn't do that shit. That shit was whack. Most kids wouldn't do any of it. Right? Now, you're probably a little more similar to me. You have those things that are very interesting to you, and you would probably go learn about them, right? I mean, if you're here on my journaling course, then I'm sure you have a decent affirmation for learning, or you've at least developed it over time, right? But that structure is very important, especially when it comes to working for yourself, being an entrepreneur. This is a skill that you have to develop. This is a skill I've been trying to develop more and more over the past 2 months as I've truly been working on my YouTube consistently. I'm still not that good at it, honestly. But I leveled up a lot yesterday. Let me tell you my story real quick. When I was at work yesterday. I drive around, I go to these houses for insurance companies, take some pictures of them, usually 5 minutes and I'm out. Right? I think I was about halfway done with my day. And I was thinking about my plans to get the shit done that I need to get done, which is one, make this course, two, finish the research for my dopamine full guide, and then record that dopamine full guide so everything can be up by Saturday, February 3rd. If you're watching this on Saturday, February 3rd, when this dropped, you're a fucking real one. All right. I want you to go make a post and tell me, right? Or hit me up and DM me, right? Fucking pound it, dog. I respect that. I fucking appreciate you. Regardless, I was like, all right, I need to script my entire course today because I need to record my entire course tomorrow. Yesterday, when I got home around 4-ish, 4:30, I was like, all right, I'm going to sit here at this table. I got my journaling notes. I would go get my notebooks, but I don't feel like it. I got my notes. I got everything I want to talk about. I got to put this together and structure it in a way that makes sense. And then I got to go through and I got to find out all these points that I want to talk about in my videos. Now, I don't script word for word because I think it's stupid, honestly. Not in that it won't deliver you effective value, but in my opinion, I think that scripting word for word is too strict, right? And you kind of sound robotic, and it's also just way more work than having key ideas, key points like bullets, like I have right here, and then you just talk about them off the top based on your off your bullets. Now you'll probably mess up a little more. You might start to tangent and ramble like I tend to do a little bit. But at the end of the day, the value is going to be there because you put some prior thought into it, right? Writing helps commit things to memory. And so yesterday, I was like, all right, I'm busting out this entire course today. There were a lot of times where I wanted to pussy out and be like, oh man, I don't feel like it. I'm going to do it in the morning. I'm going to finish in the morning. If I would have finished in the morning that last time where I really wanted to, I was about 2 hours in, and I still had an entire section of the course, which is the journaling methods. I still had to do those entire like the entire script for that that part of the course. If I pussied out and was like, all right, I'm gonna do this in the morning, I would have had an extra hour of work to do before I even recorded all these videos. It took me an hour to do that. Imagine if I would have done that. I would have done that, and I would not would have wanted to record all these videos today. I guarantee you I would have. I barely want to record them all now. And I know that after I finish all these videos, I'm going to be cooked. My brain is going to be fucking fried. That's how I was feeling 2 hours in. And I was just like, nah, bro, I gotta keep pushing. I gotta cross the moat. I gotta keep going. Because it's going to be worth it. I do not want to pussy out. So I didn't. And I felt fucking amazing after that. I went into a Adonis school and I made a post on wins. I was like, I finished doing my entire course script. Let's go. I wanted to pussy out. I wanted to tell myself I'm going to do it tomorrow, but I kept going. I got it done. And that's exactly why today I'm recording the entire course, all 21 videos. That was a little tangent, but you have to be able to assign yourself these assignments, even if they're big, even if they're challenging, but you have to commit to them. You have to give yourself that structure. You have to give yourself deadlines. And that's what school is good at. That's not the point of this video, but let's give school a dub, right? Even though it sucks. Now, the real dub, which is what this video is actually about, is giving you assignments in class, right? When you're in class, when you're learning, and your teacher tells you to either do independent work right after you've learned, after they've given the lesson, or your guided work, you can help work with your teammates, stuff like that. You're putting the knowledge immediately into action. You're writing, which is help committing things to memory, but you're also doing, right? You're filling out a worksheet, which is based off what you learned. And it's allowing you to apply the things that you've learned, even if it's not exactly in the real world setting. It allows you to apply it to some extent, which helps you memorize better. That's immediate action. When you write and you take immediate action on the things that you've written, you memorize them. Not only does writing help commit things to memory, it also allows you to articulate and communicate your ideas more effectively. Think about this. Most of the time when we're talking, we're thinking and then we're talking, right? And that's why, even though it's not completely ideal when it comes to only scripting bullet points and then going off the top, because you do have to think, it allows more flexibility and more authenticity, which is what I value over complete and effective articulation and effective communication, right? But when you think and speak at the same time, there's a lot more room for error, a lot more room for fluff or less effective communication. But when you write, you're thinking, you're already thinking. And then when you talk about the things that you've written, you're almost speaking and not thinking. Of course, there's still going to be some thought there, but you've done a lot of the thinking prior. And so when you're speaking, you're more articulate. You're more effective and efficient in the way you communicate and the things that you do communicate. This is why great writers are often great speakers. If you've heard of the YouTuber Dan Coe, bro, if you've ever watched any of his videos, you're like, yo, this guy's amazing. He's a fucking genius. Like the way he talks, the way he articulates his ideas, it's fucking amazing. When Dan Coe did a guest call in Adonis School, Hamza had asked him, yeah, like, what's the reason you can present yourself so articulately and the way you communicate is so good? And Dan was said one simple word: writing. The fact that he's already thought about so many of the things as he was working on his book, The Art of Focus, and then he just communicates those ideas later in his videos. He's already done a lot of the thinking on the back end. And so when he presents himself on the front end with the speaking, it sounds way more articulate. It sounds way more effective, way more efficient. It's because he's already done the hard part. Thinking is the hard part, in my opinion. Now, speaking is difficult, but as you level up, as you speak more, as you be on camera more, you're going to level up that skill. Thinking is the same, but speaking more so because you have to speak to communicate, right? People can't read minds, unfortunately. But speaking is really powerful. Speaking is what moves people. And so if you can speak more effectively, you can sound more authoritative in the way you speak. You sound more convicted in the way you speak. People will respect you more. People will listen to what you're saying more. And a lot of that comes from writing previously, from already thinking about your ideas previously, and then communicating. Rather than thinking about something and speaking about it, which is the first time you thought about it, it's the second time you thought about it, and now you're speaking about it. Does that make sense? And that's exactly why scripting is so powerful. You're already thinking about what you want to say, and then you say it. Even if it's not word for word, right? Like I don't do. You've put a lot of the processing, a lot of the front end or the back end into the message already. And because of that, you're going to be better off for it when you do decide to communicate it when you're speaking. I know I've repeated that a lot of the times, but I think this is a very powerful tactic. Especially if you want to develop your speaking, your public speaking, you eventually want to be a public speaker, you want to hop on camera more, maybe you want to be a politician or a leader. Public speaking is a very powerful skill. And writing will help you articulate yourself and communicate more effectively. It also helps you remember the things that you wanted to talk about in the first place. Writing is very powerful. And that's what journaling is. It's just writing. Now, this has to do with writing physically and digitally, but physically writing is the way to go, in my opinion. Yeah. Now go click on the next video about how to journal. Yeah.